So I decided to start putting videos on YouTube because who knows, they could help somebody. Even if it's just one person. And I'm starting with just my phone on a sofa, none of this big microphone stuff, because it's not about the gear that you've got, it's about the knowledge that you've got. I know many people who have all the gear and no idea. Anyway, I haven't been able to get to sleep 2 nights now. Just don't know why. It's like restless leg syndrome, but throughout my whole body. But anyway, this video isn't about that, so let's get on to what I want to make the video about. So, I came to a conclusion last night that I was talking to myself like this. So, yes, I'm talking to you guys now. You guys on YouTube. You are who I'm talking to. But last night, I done something a little different. It was almost like I was looking in a mirror and I was filming myself. I can see myself now on the screen. You know what it's like when you take a selfie. So I was looking at myself and I was actually talking to myself. You know, like when you look in the mirror and you say, today's the day, that kind of thing. But I tried to do it a little bit differently. And it's hard to explain exactly, but I was just having a conversation. I was talking to myself as though the person who I see on the screen is a different person. I was just playing around with, I love philosophy, so I was just playing around with ideas. And I realised something. I realised something quite important. So, kind of coming back to that mirror analogy, where you look in a mirror and you say to yourself, you are a lovable, likeable chap who, you know, who does their best in life and today's going to be a good day, that kind of thing. But I wanted to switch it. What I'd done was I realised that many of us, including myself, spend a lot of time in our heads. Okay, so what we're saying to ourselves in our head, we're not saying out loud. Because when you say these things out loud, that's the difference between you being stable and not stable. It's not. There is no difference. It's just the stigma that's associated with the guy walking down the road talking to himself. You know, I've heard this before. The difference between someone in a mental institute and not in a mental institute is the person who's speaking out loud to himself. We're all speaking to ourselves. You know, we all have that voice, that narrator in our head. But I thought, okay, so I say a lot of things to myself in my head. But I never really come to any conclusions when I'm in my head. It's not until I'm writing things down, or maybe praying, and you know, you don't have to have a certain religion for that to work, because for me, I feel as though the act of talking out loud is what works. The act of writing something down is what works. The act of getting it out of your head and into the physical world, onto paper or out as a noise, is what works. At least for me. Because whenever I'm thinking about things in my mind, I never get anywhere. I feel as though when I'm thinking in my mind, I can have a million thoughts at the same time. Bit of an over-exaggeration, but there's no structure to it. It's like a lot of voices all at the same time. That makes me sound crazy, but it's so easy to talk to yourself in your head. You can say half a sentence and you don't have to finish the sentence in your head because you already know what you're about to say anyway. So you just have the thought. You didn't even have to say it, you just have the thought, and you can have thousands and thousands of them every day. Okay, so it's very, very easy and very quick to talk down to yourself throughout the day in your head. So what I done last night was I looked at the camera and I thought, let's see if I can say the same things to myself that I say in my head to the camera, looking at me on the screen. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I felt like I would be hurting that person here on the screen. It was horrible to think about. And I could not believe that I've been saying those things to myself. You know? It's a crazy theory. But if you try it, just try it. Do what I'm saying. Get your phone, get a camera where you can see yourself, where you're filming yourself and you can see yourself, and try to say something really negative to yourself. You might be able to do it, but it would hurt so much more than what it does when you say it in your mind. And by kind of experiencing that, if you can do it, it's gonna hurt. And if you can't do it, the fact you can't do it speaks wonders as well, because it's like, whoa. So I feel like it's okay to say it in my head, but I can't say it out loud because that's just not right. But that just doesn't feel right, you know? So yeah, it was a bit of a crazy epiphany, I suppose, which helped. I'm not gonna lie, it helped. You know, I don't know if you've seen these love-hate jars. I've tried it once, and I felt so guilty. I done it with apples. I felt so guilty being horrible to that other apple. I really did. I felt terrible. I know it sounds strange, but I felt terrible. I felt like a really horrible person. I felt like I was making the apple sad. And just in case you don't know what a love-hate jar is, there's been scientific experiments on this, where if you say that you love, if you have two jars of rice or apples, whatever you want to use, one's a love jar, one's a hate jar. You tell one you love it, you tell one you hate it, and you'll see that the one that you say you hate, it just rots, and the one that you say you love, it doesn't. And when I was doing that, when I was saying I hate it, it felt so wrong. Why did it feel wrong? It felt like I was hurting myself. We're not supposed to be nasty. We're not supposed to be nasty, okay? You wouldn't dream of talking to other people the way that you talk to yourself. Maybe you could be somebody who does accidentally snap, but you need to give yourself a break, okay? Because when we do bad things, there's no such thing as evil. There's only a such thing as the absence of love. That's all that is. It's the absence of love. You were disconnected. You were disconnected from everything around you because you've got stuff going on. Because something's happening. It's disconnecting you. You feel alone, isolated. You feel disconnected. That's the best word you can use. And that is the only time that you can ever be like that. when you feel whole and when you feel like you're part of the bigger world and you're part of the the, the environment, and you feel like everything is connected, which it is, when you feel like that, you cannot be nasty to it. You cannot be horrible to it. But you can't feel like that all the time because we are still here living life, and life is challenging. And we often don't give ourselves enough time to recharge, to do what we want to do. And yes, I say to do what we want to do. Why does that come across as almost selfish now? Like a stigma attached to doing what you want to do. Do what you want to do. You need to do what you want to do. Because if you don't do what you want to do, then you're always serving, always doing for others, okay? And then you're not able to be effective or productive in what you do, okay? You need to have time to yourself. So yes, saying I hate you to an apple, it didn't feel good. I felt like a terrible person. Now, I seem to be completely fine with saying horrible things to myself in my mind until I looked at myself in a mirror or on a camera and even thought about saying something horrible to that innocent face that I'm looking at. You know? We're all children. We're all children. We're all children of God, of the universe. You know, you could be any faith. You don't have to have any faith. What did Alan Watts once say? Like an apple tree apples, the earth peoples. We come out of the earth, we didn't come into it. Okay? So we are all children learning. Okay? That's what we are. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. I'm talking to myself right now too. Give yourself a break. Okay? Stop being so hard on yourself. You wouldn't treat anything else like that or anyone else like that. Okay? So yeah, just wanted to kind of put that out there. And if you're meant to find it, you'll find it. And whenever I get some other kind of mad idea, I'll put that up too. There's no aim with this, really. Not trying to get famous. I'm not trying to... I don't care how I look. I don't care about the unprofessionalism of this video. I'm just me being me. And I'm using YouTube as an archive of my philosophies, my theories, the lessons that I learn. Because I don't want them to go to waste. And I forget them sometimes too, so I can always go back and watch them. But I don't want them to go to waste. I am too interested in psychology, philosophy, religion of all sorts. I love it all. I see the benefits of religion. I see the benefits of faith. People say religion causes wars. It doesn't. People do. People cause wars, not religion. People. That's like saying oil causes wars. No, it doesn't. People cause war. Okay? Religion does not cause war. Faith, okay, is so important. Otherwise, what's the point? You know? I've noticed that my my son's generation, my son's 16, his generation now, they're part of the woke society. And I was on that train. I thought that we were becoming too woke and all the rest of it. And there are arguments for it. But for me, I feel like it's better to be that too much that way than not at all. And I'm seeing the benefits coming from it. You know, I was speaking to my son. Things might be different in your area, your part of the world, but here in Wales, in the UK, you know, my son was saying, you don't really get anyone getting bullied now in his school. It doesn't happen, and I know it does happen in places, it's way less than what it used to. You may get excluded from groups because you're a bit of a weirdo, or you know you don't quite fit in, or whatever. I was that weirdo. I mean, now I got all the right people are around me now. The people that I choose to be around, not the people that I was forced to be around when I was in school. That's the difference. It's like being in a blimmin' prison when you go to school. You're locked in, gated around you, and you're forced to spend time with people that you wouldn't choose to spend time with. That is like a prison to me. Okay, and don't get me started. That's another video. Okay, but yeah, you may get excluded, but you don't you're not singled out and bullied in the same way, nowhere near as much as what we used to be. And these kids are growing up now, you know. One of these kids is going to be our next prime minister or president, and they're not going to be anything like the people that we have now. They're going to be more connected, more empathetic. They're going to be less worried about what people think of them. They're more themselves now. You know, I see so many what are they called? No, I'm neurodiverse. What's it called now? Transneutral, is it? Gender neutral. Gender neutral. I'm seeing so many more gender neutral people now at his age, right? Call it what you want. Put a label on it, right? Fine. Put a label on it. For me, I just see it as somebody who just dresses how they want. Don't have to put a label on it. That's just somebody who dresses how they want. Why put a label on it? You don't have to. But I see so many more of them now, which is a signal, it's a sign. It's proof. It's proof that people now, this next generation coming up, are more comfortable with being themselves than our generation ever was and ever will be. It's a sign that we're going in the right direction. That's what it's a sign of. We're going in the right direction. Okay? Because let's be honest, we can't continue, and we couldn't continue the way that we're going now, could we? Because we are killing ourselves. We're ripping ourselves apart. We are our own worst enemies. And I'm not talking about as a collective. I'm talking about as individuals. Up here. How many more suicides are there now? How many more mental health problems are there now? Mental health problems come from unless it's like, you know, psychosis or bipolar, chemical issues and all of that kind of stuff. Most of the time, it's just mental health problems due to the narration in your head. Okay. Labels again. Labels that are put on you. Doctor says you are depressed. Wow, am I? Is that what I am? I'm depressed. Oh. Then you go home and people ask how do the doctors go, so I'm depressed. Oh. Oh, right, okay. Then you fill out an application form for a job and they ask you, do you have any problems? Yeah, I'm depressed. Within 2 years, you're depressed. That's who you are now. You're depressed. You've just had a label put on it. That's who you are now. Good luck getting out of that. Good luck getting out of that when you've been singing that to yourself now for the last 2 years. Now, I've not fact checked this, okay, but it's an interesting theory, all right? And I did hear it, and I'm sure it was Alan Watts again, or some philosopher, who said that we didn't used to say I am, we used to use the word be instead of am. So I be depressed would have been a better way of saying this. So be is temporary, am is permanent, but nothing's permanent, so you can't be depressed. You can be depressed, but that's not who you are. And I gotta do another video on who you are. You know, when they ask, so who are you? Good luck answering that question without only telling them what you do. It's impossible to answer without saying what you do. But I'm going to do another video on that because it's a cracker and I love getting into the deeps of that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Maybe you're on the same wavelength as me and you think in the same way. If so, let me know. Love to have a chat with you. You know, I'd love to meet more like-minded people like myself. I love these kind of conversations where you just have friends like it. Not everyone's as deep as me. I'm lucky. My wife isn't. My wife is the complete opposite, and she deserves a medal having to listen to this. But you know, I have people in my life that I can talk to about stuff like this. But maybe you don't, and you know, you'd like to get involved and talk about these things. So yeah. Anyway, and if nobody watches this, then it's an archive for my distant relatives in the future. Anyway, all the best. Ta-ra.